Let's continue on our quest to learn some basic SQL commands. In another video, I taught you about how to create your database and how to create your tables by defining table names and the schema. That is, the column names and types for each table. So here's the realm table that we created earlier, and it has a number of columns. In this video, I'm going to teach you about 4 SQL commands that you will use all the time. Those are insert, which allows you to insert rows into a table. Update, which allows you to update one or more rows in a table. Delete, obviously, allows you to delete rows from a table. And query, which allows you to read data from one or more tables. Let's start with the insert statement. So you'll notice here I'm going to use the realm table as the target of my operation. I have no data in the table currently. Let's head over to the Execute SQL tab. I'm going to paste in some SQL that I wrote previously. So the command I'm going to use is insert into realm, that's the table, followed by, in parentheses, each column name that I'm going to insert data into, followed by the values that I'm going to insert into those columns, and they must be in the same order as the columns are listed in the column clause. So this is a very simple SQL statement. Notice that I'm inserting a numeric value as the last value that will be profile icon max. So let me go ahead and run that. And if I head back over to the Browse Data tab, you'll notice I now have a row in my table, and it contains the data that I inserted. Let's now take a look at the update statement. An update statement allows you to update one or more rows in a table and limit the rows that are updated. So I have only one row in my table, but if I had more, we could limit which rows were updated. So the command is update table name, in this case realm, and then a set clause where we indicate the columns that we're going to set and the values that we're going to set them to. So in this case, I'm going to update the champion version to 5.9.10 and the map version to 5.9.8, and I have a where clause which limits the rows in the table that will be updated. Since there's only one, this doesn't really matter, and I could leave it out, which would update every row in the table. But in this case, I'm saying only update the rows that have a realm version equal to 5.9.2. So let me run that, and then we're going to run over here to the Browse Data, and notice that I updated the champion version to 5.9.10 and the map version to 5.9.8, and all other columns are left unaffected. The next statement I'm going to look at is the delete. In this case, it's very simple. I'm going to delete from the realm table where the realm version is equal to 5.9.2. If I left off the where clause, it would delete every row from the realm table. In this case, there's only one row in our realm table, so it doesn't really matter, but this just illustrates the usage of using a where clause on a delete statement. I'm going to go ahead and run that, and then jump over to our Browse Data tab, and you'll notice now our row is gone. The last command I want to teach you about is the select statement. That is one of the most powerful SQL commands that you will encounter, and it goes way beyond the scope of this video, but I'm going to teach you a few basic things about the select command. And to do that, I've switched databases to one that has already been populated with lots of data. If we take a look at the champion table here, you'll notice I have 125 rows already. So let's jump over here and type a very simple SQL command. Select star from champion. That's a command that I can run that will select every column and every row from the table. Star is a wildcard that says give me every column from this table. Since I don't have a where clause, it's going to give me every single row. And if you see, I selected 125 rows, which is everything in the table. Selecting all is generally considered bad form, and it's best to select just the columns you need. It's more efficient, and this is called specifying a projection. So in this case, I'm going to simply specify a couple of columns that I want, and this is called the projection. So in this case, I'm going to select just the champion ID, the name, and the image columns of all rows in the table. And if I run that, you'll notice that that's all I get. Champion ID, name, and image. You'll notice that the rows come back in no particular order. And in this case, I'd like to order my results by name in ascending order. So I'm going to add an order by clause, which is called the sort, and I specify one or more columns that I would like to sort by. So I'm going to order by name ascending. This is the default ascending. I can also specify descending if I want it in reverse order. So let's run this, and we'll see that now my data comes back in ascending name order. The last thing I want to show you is how to limit what comes back in the result set using a where clause. And we've used this in the other statements, the updates and the deletes. So I simply want to say something like where champion, this is kind of arbitrary, but where champion ID is less than 100. I wouldn't really do this in this case, but this is just to illustrate usage. So if I run this, you'll notice that it limits the results to everything less than 100. There happens to be 84 champions that have a champion ID less than 100. They're still sorted in alphabetical order by name. So what I've done here is I've given you the very basic bare bones syntax for a select statement. We specified a projection, a selection, and a sort.